but that's why we want to keep things controlled, and we want to move our stop loss to break even. That's why we did that this morning. Right, good. It's always a way. About 12 o'clock we'll always get some movement between 12 and 1 London time, which is when the US traders come in, and it's always a move on gold, always something. So it's bullish on the daily, but we did have a lovely drop, just over 100 pips, which was yeah, perfect really. So we made some money on that 100 pip move down. What's going on here? Why is it not working? Everything seems to be in holiday mode still. Opening web browser. Yes, opening web browser. Let's pull this over here. Let's get the old live on as well. Make sure we share that link. Should be, yeah, hopefully. Can you guys all hear me? Can you hear me on via YouTube? Can you hear me via the Zoom? Hopefully it's all working. Hopefully. Right, let's get the link for this. Turn it up a bit. Oh, here we go. Copy that. Can delete that. Paste it here. Done. Move that across. Done. Right, good, perfect. How's everybody doing today? Good, yeah. All right, let's have a look. Let's have a little look at gold to start with very quickly. So we had a 764 strategy in play because what we were looking for last week was the move up. It broke the 38.2, and with an MT strategy that we usually apply. Hello, mate. How you doing? All right. Good. So viewers, it just says, oh, okay. Weird that. Yeah, so with this, I mean, we had a strong push up. This was where everything broke anyway, so that was a nice move. And then we had basically this entire range. I've used this entire move, this entire range from 1755, because it's a massive move, almost 1,000 pips, about 800 pips. We had a strong push up, which told us that we were going to be bullish. We've pulled back to that 38.2 and lifted off from there. So it was a case of MT strategy. If you hadn't gotten in on any of this movement up, then basically you're looking for it to go all the way up to the 764, which it did eventually get to quite nicely. It took a while, but it got there. So had it got there yesterday, we would have been looking to short it yesterday. In fact, it took all week. It's got there today. We shorted it this morning off that 764 with a 764 strategy. So you could have had money to the upside on a nice bullish move. And clearly on the daily it's still bullish, but excuse all the fib levels. You can see it's bullish, been bullish today. Yesterday we had a bearish candle, but it's reversed, it went up. So the fact that it pushed up to that 764 is good enough, to be fair, and that's saying, okay, let's see if it reverses today. So we've had on the 4 hour and on the 1 hour, we've had a nice reversal candle this morning, which we caught that and we shorted it. We took some profit as well, but daily still bullish. So we need to allow the daily, ideally, it needs to break back below 27, where it's tapped as a low. If it comes down here, then I wouldn't worry about it. I would look for shorting for the bigger move. First target would be a reversal of this range, of this current range that we're in. So 38.2 would be the first target at 1715 area. So I've targeted 1716. Clearly, if it takes the highs out, then all bets are off, and don't worry about it. But to be fair to it, as I say, we've caught this first move and we got the reaction that we were looking for off the 764. So 764 strategy gave up a good 100 pips, so there was money to be made. So we made some money. Now we want to see if it has a reversal on a bigger picture, but that may take a few days, or it might take may take all day. We'll just see what happens here. But stops were at break even anyway, so it doesn't matter if it goes up or not. Moving on to pound yen. So sorry, pound dollar. Bank holiday weekends always mess everything up, puts everything out of sync. What you can see here is that we've gone up to we've got a wave 1 move, then the wave 2 pullback to the 764 of that range. I'll show you that. If I do this like this, you can see the 764, 137.12. Tap that. So wave 1, wave 2 pullback, and now wave 3 is. Let's just get rid of that. So you clear it up a little bit. Wave 3 is always looking for around a 161 extension, which ties in nicely. That's around 139.33. So 139.30 area to 50 area, because it likes that 50 number. Also, that would be the 50% where we have some resistance. You can see price coming into previous structure there. We were just waiting patiently for it to break this area of supply and demand, you know, the demand zone here, some order block information there, waiting for it to break up. Could have taken it long at any point, but as it got up, I mean, 138 was a good entry point. It proved to be a great entry point, 120 pip move in the end. So really, really nice. And then we had a clear out because of the bank holiday. It just couldn't quite get up there. I think it had yesterday been a normal day, we may well have touched target 2. Now it remains to be seen what it does next. So far it's done a decent 100 pip correction. Average range on a good day for pound dollar is about 120 pips or so. So you can see that was reflected in this clear out and this sell off back down to previous structure. But yeah, that was the move. Now it's gone down here. I mean, I don't know. It's anyone's guess what it's going to do next. Is it just going to break structure, break support, and then drop? But anyway, it was a good trade and good move from last week. So that was the trade. We called that trade as well in our group. So that was good. Pound yen has just been moving up, trickling up really nicely. Just continues to go slowly. But it's going really, really well. We had that initial sell-off and reaction off the major 38.2 fib on the weekly, which is reflected there. We knew we'd get some sort of a reaction off there, and it gave us a 400 pip swing down. To be fair, that's 400 pips. And where did it stop? It stopped at the 764 strategy. Really nice, based on that last swing. So you got a 300 pip swing down here, 300 pips, then it rallies. And so we have that last low and that last high. Really notable, isn't it? Really apparent there, really apparent there. People were trying to short pound yen, and I was a bit confused as to why they were trying to short it. Just had to be a bit more patient. We were shorting it when it was doing it here. Short it there, short it there, short it again here. Now we don't short it. Double bottom here, retest of that. 764 pullback, and then it went up. So looking for T1. T2, T1's done. We're looking for T2 at around 153.64, so 153.60 area. But again, of course, because of the bank holiday weekend, the long Easter weekend, it does tend to put the week out of sync. So I reckon, had it not been a bank holiday yesterday, we would have had a decent move up to finish off the move. And with divergence on the higher time frames, including definitely on the 1 hour, it was really apparent. Look, divergence even dropped below here, and we've broken the trend line. Had it gone up today, I would have been shorting it. Didn't quite get to where I needed it to get to. It sort of stalled around 153.30s, which we know it likes that 30 number, and down to 152.80. That's a decent move so far, likes the 80 number. Is it going to keep going? Might drop as far as 152.30 for a decent 100 pip swing down. Certainly bearish. Certainly looking for potential for this to give a deeper correction. So what would we do here? Well, anyone who is shorting this, Again, you take that last swing low. Where's that last swing low? Well, down to here really. That's the ultimate low. And just do that and just pull your fibs across to see where everything overlaps. You can see 150, 154 area is calling again. But of course, 150, 250 area is previous structure. That was our first target. Had it gotten up to that 127, so we're not too far off. Had it just had the legs to get up there, I would have been looking for a short with divergence. Shorten it from 153.60 area down to 152.50 area for a decent 100 pip correction at least. It's still in play. I mean, it's still valid, but the entry point was off and couldn't get it. We're still looking for that little bit more. Again, should have taken into consideration what could potentially happen with bank holiday weekend, but this is to be expected. It's never an exact science, is it, really? But yeah, certainly it's looking decent for a slightly deeper correction, at least down to previous structure. Looking good for it. It's dropping all pound pairs a week, pound dollar, pound yen at least. See what happens. But yeah, that's the play down to there. Just didn't give me the entry that I wanted, so couldn't call it possibly. Break of the trend line as well. It's a significant confluence break. So yeah, keep an eye on that one. Dollar index. Let's have a look at this dollar index. So dollar index has got divergence. Sorry, not dollar index. What am I talking about? The Dow Jones. My apologies. Dow Jones, the US stock market. We are seeing some divergence on the higher time frames, where the volume is thin. Here, for example, on a 4 hour, we've got we have a three wave. The volume has been decreasing, and then we went up, but the volume wasn't the same volume here as we had here with this move. So despite going up and then curling up and extending and making a new high, the volume has been a lot lower. So just to make you clear on divergence and the indicator that we're using, the oscillator, awesome oscillator it's called, it's that one. And just to give you an idea what it is, 5 and 34 the settings, and if you go to indicators, just so everybody knows, it's this one, Everget. It's by Everget. Awesome oscillator, Everget, that's the one. It's nice because it gives you the color codes as well, so it shows where the volume's thinning out here. So it's different shades of green and red, which is important. I like that. So it's visually really helpful as well. So hopefully that helps you. Where are we at now? Well, Dow Jones for me is always a good one. I love trading the Dow Jones. It can give up so much, like gold really, bit of an animal when it needs to be. We're looking for previous structure, 33,230 for a drop back down. See if it can do it. What sort of a retest are we after? Well, it could go up to 33,540 again. Let's just drill down to an hour. It's not doing anything yet. We're waiting for the US traders to come in, and they're not going to be here for another just over 2 hours. So for the US Open. So see what happens. But certainly we are trying to go up, and we are failing. So maybe it's gone up a bit, and now it's going to come back down, and we might get that drop. 33,230 first target, previous structure. It's even reflected here. It's not an exact science again, but I was just taking that last major swing low because it's really prominent. You can really see that, can't you? Really nice pullback before it goes up and extends. So we'll take that into consideration as our marker. Clearly, if it gets down, we're looking for 3,300s again, 33,000 again. A nice round area, nice round number, 33,043 to be precise. So you could say 33,050 if you round it up. But yeah, that's got scope. So if it does fail here, which it's tried, and it's tried to go up, if you drill down, what we do is every time there's a range, this is what I do. Every time there is a range, any size, just pick a time frame that you can clearly see the range. Note it's never about the time frame. It's always about the range. All we do is we use the different time frames to help us to see the range, just in better clarity, if you like. It's never about the time frame. It's always about the range. So the reason we have different time frames, it just, as I say, you can't use a 15-minute chart to look at 1,000 pip move. You can, but look at it. It's just very scrunched up and not too clear. Yeah, so that it's just common sense. A lot of it's common sense. So this is what we're looking at right now. We've had a move up. We had a bit of a rejection off that 50. Will it go up one more time? Get up to maybe a 764 or a 618? somewhere up here, 33,550 or 580. Does it have the legs to get up here before dropping? So it could do something like that. Just keep one eye on it. This is the path that it could take. It could get up like that and then drop, for example. Maybe then to a 127 extension, which would be, this is how we do the fibs again. So once this tops out, so right now the high is there, but if that's the high and it doesn't break that high, then that high is the one that's valid. If it makes a new high, all we do is get rid of that. All we would do is simply move it. Just move the fibs every time they. If it makes a new high, do something like that. Put the 0 up there somewhere. But what we're interested in seeing is a couple of key levels. So not the 6.1, not the 38, not the 50 necessarily, but the 764, and then the fib extension levels. So they're the levels that I use as well for the fibs. I'm going to make a note of that. Something like that. So maybe 33,450 would make for a decent downside target. It's quite a nice round target. That's based on this current price action. That's assuming it doesn't do this. So that's why we always sit on our hands. We wait for clarity. We wait for, for confirmation. And if it does that, that's T1. Then your T2 would be somewhere like here, 33,390. So maybe about 33,400, something like that, as a nice decent move. Again, we'll see. Allow it to finish, allow it to do what it's doing. Bigger picture does suggest that we could see further downside. So I'm just waiting on that one. Let's quickly go to Aussie Yen. So Aussie Yen was it's given you 3 opportunities to take a long on the Aussie Yen using the MT strategy for momentum. A break of the 38.2 here was the first point of entry. It came back, gave you another opportunity. Gone up nicely since then, and we could have had some profit at any point. And then it came back here, really nice pronounced sell-off, but it didn't do any. You know what I mean? It just ended up being a correction. Again, fibs are powerful. Use that on any range. So evaluate it. What sort of a move did we get? Let's put some fibs on here. It's always about the fibs first and foremost as a confluence. So that's the move. Around 50% pullback, and it was a correction in the end. So it was just that. So the fact that we pulled back about 50%, do away with that. Don't need them anymore. They've served their purpose. That's why I don't have them on there. And I'm interested in this current range because neither this high or this low has been taken out so far, and that's just that there. But Aussie Yen, I don't trade it on its own. I rarely trade it at all. I would look at an Aussie move or a Yen move to see how this one would move on, alongside those pairs as a confluence. Right now it's struggling to break the 61.8, but it was a good pullback to 38.2 for an MT strategy to go long. Bit of an unusual setup, but yeah, it's given multiple entry points at multiple times to get in. So that's what it looks like, and this is what the targets look like as well. So if it doesn't break back down, we're looking at potential bullish move up for a 764 at 84.70, and then a 127 extension at 86.30. This is a good one. This is interesting. This is nice. So one of our one-to-one traders has taken this long, and if I just look at the 4 hour, you can see this was the range. We spiked up and then we've given it all back, this imbalance, given it all back. Had a nice little bounce to get in again for a final move, and then I've just adjusted the fibs. So we did drop back to previous structure. We actually dipped below and extended as far as a 50% correction, just shy of this last range. But then we've had bullish intention, and the T1, I mean, he got in later than this, just to point out, this was the perfect entry, or perfect entry. This would be the entry based on the 38.2, the MT strategy of taking this last swing. So I've done 2 swings. There's the ultimate high, and then there's the second high, which is really obvious. So he used this one, which was really good of him to do that. So as an entry point, he noted that 167.43 was the entry point. We stabbed down, and then at 7 o'clock, 7:30 this morning London time, we started rallying. That's when we started seeing some moves. I knew we'd get some movement this morning during a London session because we've had 4 days of being off, and it tends to be a bit busy first thing in the morning off the back of a long weekend. People want to get in, don't they? They want to put their orders on. They want to do some trading, especially if they haven't, feeling refreshed after 3-4 days off. Nice. So we had some volume. First target would be the 764 of this range. So that's done. So what I would do now is I clear this. You can remove it totally, completely. Just untick them if you're using TradingView, and if you don't have multiple charts, and just see where that lines up. That lines up nicely with the 50% of this range as well. And also the 127 of this extension. So if it does this, pulls back and takes that out. If it takes this out, then it's bullish, isn't it? Because we've been making lower highs. There's a lower high. So there's the high. It comes off it and pulls back, but doesn't take it out. Pulls back, lower high. Pulls back, still a lower high. But if it takes that out, then you look for 127 extension at 169.21. Where does that tie in? It ties in nicely with the 76.4, which is at 169.14. So that's quite nice as well. So they tie in quite nicely. So that's the current play. He's got in a little bit later, but he's already moved his stop to break even. He's already taken some profit. A nice easy move for him. Dollar index is always important. We've had since last week, I've been talking about how we've gone up and literally just touched the 76.4 of that last range. So there's the last. Again, we talk about the swing highs. That's the highest point. We sort of got a head and shoulders. There's the left shoulder. There's the right shoulder. There's the head. Nothing before it is higher. Nothing after it is higher. So we use that one. I wouldn't use this one because this one's still higher. Wouldn't use any of these. And then we've reversed and we've pulled back 76.4. Note that we are still making lower highs to these levels. So we're still bearish. Still potential for dollar weakness. Understandably, using that perfectly, 764 strategy, perfect reaction off that to the pip. I even put some fib extensions on this where we went up, pulled back to previous structure, then we had a double bottom as it came down to retest this area before breaking above 92, which we said if it breaks 92 it's going to be bullish. So it did that, went up, nice, perfect. Fib extensions, perfect. Really good price action dollar index. Just watching it at the moment. It comes down to test this. I put a trend line on here to see because it broke it here, broke above, back down to retest it. See if it can drop and break down below now. So watch dollar index, and that's it really. A couple of extra ones, just a couple extra ones. Just keeping an eye on Aussie dollar because it's doing that at the moment. Still bearish. We're looking for 75 potentially if it wants to sell off. That's the 50% because we've got 38.2 of this bigger range, so 7499. So 775, 7,500 would make for a great downside target. That would be based solely on some dollar strength once more. New Zealand dollar's following suit with a nice pullback. So I'm using the New Zealand dollar for correlation and an extra confluence to trade potentially either or both the Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar. And then someone asked me about the Pound Aussie. Pound Aussie's in a range. That's done a nice little pullback, 50%. See if it breaks now, which it's trying to do, and then potentially look for 180.46, so 180.50 area. Or at least retest that 50%. Yeah, again, we'll just see what happens there. Final one is EuroCAD. EuroCAD's breaking the 38.2. Again, using that last swing. So momentum strategy saying we had resistance and then it's pierced through resistance. So we're going up with momentum, potentially looking for back up to 149.15. So that's everything that I'm looking at so far. Just have a look back through the video if you're not sure, but that's it for now. You can send me any questions. I'm not going to take any now, but send me any. And to my Telegram at ALX_TYW if you want to ask me anything. All right. So have a good day and have a good week.